It is the purpose of the local law to allow the town of Hurley Comprehensive Plan Committee, Planning Board, and Town Board significant time to review its update of Town Comprehensive Plan adopted in 2006 and consider zoning and land use laws in furtherance of the Town Comprehensive Plan. It is the purpose of the local law to allow the Town of Hurley Planning Board and Town Board time to address thorough planning and legislation environmental factors, particular to Hurley, that present heightened risks associated with the development of multifamily dwellings, multi-dwelling complexes in our rural residential community. It is the purpose of the local law to promote the protection, order, conduct, safety, health, and well-being of the residents of Hurley and the land which lie within the town's borders and jurisdictions. It is the purpose of this local law to facilitate the adoption of an updated town comprehensive plan and related zoning and use laws to protect and enhance the town's physical and visual environment. It is the purpose of the local law to facilitate the adoption of a town comprehensive plan and related zoning and land use laws to protect and enhance the town's natural, historic, and cultural resources. It is the purpose of this local law to facilitate and adopt a town comprehensive plan to relate zoning and land use laws to protect the waterways, and water sources. Number 7, it is the purpose of the local law to facilitate the adoption of a town comprehensive plan and related zoning and land use laws to protect the town's aquifers, as the town of Hurley has no municipal water system and residents rely upon private water systems and water wells. Skipping down to section 4, these were the amendments. Scope of the moratorium. The moratorium on the issuance of residential building permit and other actions for the development of the multifamily dwelling and multi-dwelling complexes. No new or pending building permit applications shall be approved. No suspended or revoked building permits shall be reinstated for the development of multifamily dwellings and multi-dwelling complexes located within the area of the town of Hurley, except in accordance with the local law. B was also amended. The moratorium on the action of the Town Board, Planning Board, and Zoning Board of Appeals. The Town Board, Planning Board, and Zoning Board of Appeals shall not approve or sign any new or pending preliminary or final site plan, preliminary or final subdivision, special permit, variances, or other land use applications or permits with related directly or indirectly to the development of multifamily dwellings and multi-dwelling complexes, except as provided herein. Skipping down to D, was also amended. Applicants may submit new applications to the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, and the respective boards may process, hear, or rehear such applications while the moratorium is in effect. The moratorium shall not prohibit the moratorium shall only prohibit the voting on and determination of such applications while in effect. Although applications shall not be decided upon, applicants shall be allowed to process at their own risk so as to facilitate shorter decision timing once the moratorium is lifted. So those are the amended sections. At this time, I'll open the floor for any public comment on that or in the moratorium section. So,
in the purposes, I was wondering, it seems to me that there's no mention of the moratorium giving time for the comprehensive plan group and the town board to revisit the desire to facilitate more housing in the town of Hurley, more housing, especially for seniors. I think it might be good to add something like that to kind of emphasize the importance that the residents seem to have brought forth about having more accessible and affordable housing in the town. It's just not mentioned.
okay, thank you. Yes, Lynn?
It is the purpose, we're on number 7, as concerning water and municipal water systems and protection of aquifers and groundwater. And yet this law is crafted in such a way that it would exclude the multi-unit facility that is being proposed. down at the end of, at 198 Heritage Drive, at the end of Walter Lane and Heritage. And yet that particular area is particularly prone and is part of our groundwater protection study and our aquifer protection study. That area is recommended to be protected. And by excluding, or by this narrow language, by using the word dwelling instead of units, you would turn a blind eye to that entire development until these plans could be solidified 6 months from now. And also, I don't think the zoning of the entire town has been looked at for some time, which I assume is what the comprehensive plan is working on.
1969.
I mean, we have, almost 85 land that anybody can do almost anything with, maybe a lot of it should be R10 or something. I mean, I just find that it's a little bit narrow. One to four families, sure, whatever, as long as it looks and you're happy with. But I strongly recommend that this language be, instead of a dwelling, just be multi-unit development. Thank you.
I'm sorry, yes, in back.
So
I'm sorry, just state your name. So.
my name is Mike Ewart. I live on Broad Street in West Hurley. So I'm a little naive on this topic. So some of my questions might be a little
Sure.
taking us backwards. What's if I want to build a single family home in Hurley? How much land is required to do that?
Depends on the zoning district that you're in.
Okay, so there's different zoning districts. Is it 1 acre in some areas and 3 acres in others?
1, 2.5, and 4 acres.
1, 2.5, and 4 acres. Okay. Is that going to be looked at all, or we're happy with that?
I believe that in our comprehensive review, it just is not based on that. Our
Yeah.
comprehensive review will be sitting down and we'll be looking at all open space land.
Okay.
And we'll be addressing what we feel the town best needs for those spaces. There's not very much left, but there are large parcels, you're right.
There's still some good chunks. Yeah. What brought me here today was the multi-family dwellings, apartment buildings, apartment complex, townhouses, whatever you want to term them as. And currently, there's a 6-month moratorium, a stop to anything like that being built. That's good.
So what we've done is the moratorium is in effect. So this is one of the things that was amended. Originally, yes, that's what it stated. But what we've done is, based on the county's recommendations, we've allowed for those developments to continue with their environmental reviews, traffic reviews, things of that nature. But they cannot get an approval until the moratorium is lifted. So if they want to spend the money to do the due diligence in order to have those environmentals done, they may do so.
Right.
But at the same time, they will not get approval until the moratorium is completed.
And during this moratorium, can somebody build a 2-family house?
2-family?
A 2-family house?
This is, it's 1, it's
1 to 4.
1 to 4. Yeah.
And so if somebody was in an area where it was 1 acre zoning, could they put 4 units on that 1 acre?
No.
What would it take somebody to?
You have to talk to the building department. I can't really answer all these questions.
Okay. I guess I'm kind of curious to know like what we currently have, and what we're hoping to have at the end of 6 months, because.
Right. So one of the things I can tell you is our next meeting is August 12th. I've scheduled 1 meeting a month for the comprehensive review plan. All your discussions and everything after the moratorium is done, this will all be a part of our comprehensive reval.
Okay.
So so these are things we're going to be addressing during that period of time.
It doesn't feel like to me there's any value in multi-family homes in an area like Hurley or West Hurley. It doesn't make the town richer. It will inevitably make it poorer. Because I come from southern Dutchess County, where once we had apple orchards and dairy farms, and it's gone. And so they have an amazing recreation center, and they have a huge police force, but they needed to do that because there's so many people. So the more money we take in, the more money we'll spend. And there might be a half dozen traffic lights in Hurley and West Hurley.
Right.
That's awesome. That's an awesome thing. You put 50 units on 5 acres of land, you're gonna need a traffic light. You're gonna need some other things done. And you will need bigger police force, yes. And it'll change. And maybe for some people that's progress. But from where I'm sitting, it's not. And I guess that's all I wanted to state. I think there's a lot of people here that feel it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place to live. I'm happy that I found my way here. And yep.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we want smart development, so whatever, potentially comes to in front of the town, that we have these, the laws written clearly, so that the interpretations aren't taken, and developers have the ability to kind of sideswipe us.
Well, because money can get things through if you don't write the language clearly.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. I'm very happy about that,
So
actually.
please come to the meeting, comprehensive review meetings, and we'll definitely these are things that we'll be talking about.
Thank you.
When did the moratorium start?
It has not started yet.
Oh, okay, so when is the moratorium? Tonight? You're gonna-
Well, if it gets approved tonight, the agenda, then it has 10 days at the state, and then from that point on, it's in effect.
Or will you let us know if it is in effect?
Well, if you state tonight and it's approved at the town board, the state will approve it. It just takes a 10-day window in which the state will approve.
Okay, thank
So
you.
if it's approved tonight at the agenda meeting, you'll have it.
Yeah.
I originally thought it was for 9 months. Does anybody
So one of the
remember that last
amendments,
meeting?
one of the amendments that the county requested was that first 6 months, and instead of a 6-month extensions, it's 3-month extensions.
Question on section 6B, where it talks about hardship review. It says, if it determines it is in its absolute discretion, which means the ZBA can choose or can arrive at a decision that says this is a hardship and, that you can bypass this moratorium, at least as long as the moratorium is in effect.
I mean, you would have to show, real reason for hardship at this point in time. I mean, any of the developments that have come in front of us, there's not a hardship.
And so my question is, absolute is not absolute. There's a process beyond that. In the way this is written, there are no elected officials involved in that process. It is because the ZBA people are all appointed, right? So the next step would be if ZBA approves a hardship, and I disagree with that, I would have to do Article 78. And then that would go to the Supreme Court judge and what have you.
Right.
Okay.
But you'd also have time, the public would be heard during that process, during the ZBA meetings. They would have to have real, true concerns where that comes into effect. So,
But my concern is there are no elected officials involved in the ZBA, probably by design.
there should not be any persuasion towards elected officials on the ZBA or planning board. That's there for a reason. I'm not I'm not here to persuade any of the zoning or, planning board. That's a good thing. We do have liaisons that, you talk, that have conversations and work through and things of that nature, but an elected official sitting on the zoning and planning board is not good.
That's probably true. But my point is that it's absolute to the extent of the ZBA. The next step, if there's
Would be
a question, a challenge, is an Article 78 in Supreme Court.
Correct.
There's no way to have something in between.
So since the
I'm sorry,
time,
so what's your name?
Daniel Kaufman,
Daniel Kaufman.
Since the time of the idea of this moratorium up until now, has there been a lot of permits granted for multi-dwelling units or anything like that?
No, we got 3 on the table that came to us, with enhanced, which kind of like put this forth. It wasn't just one development or 2, it was actually 3. One actually just closed on the structure, was the old Tappan House. So they're continuing to do their due diligence, but they did purchase. But the moratorium doesn't stop them from doing what they need to do to, environmentally.
Right.
And then the other location was the Hurley Mission Church off Zano. There was 2 individuals looking to purchase that. One was multifamily and one was for a printing company. So that's when we said, you know what, we can't even address these issues because the language doesn't exist in our zoning law.
Okay.
So that's why we move forward and try to slow things down, give the ability for the town to go out and get a land use attorney to address the zoning, address our ecosystem, ecology here that we need to address so that it's done correctly. And we need at least 6 months, maybe more, I don't know.
Thank you.
I think you hand this up.
So there's a 6-month moratorium. Did I understand you say then it can be renewed 3 months at a time?
Yep.
Beyond that? Is there any limit to how many times it can be renewed?
He answered it. Okay. Anybody in the
I
board?
do have a question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm Doug Amy.
Yeah.
You're going to go over, from what I'm hearing, you're going to start going over all this, and within the next 6 months, hopefully you'll come up with a master plan, or whatever you want to call it, to govern all of this construction, multifamilies and all this stuff, right?
Correct. So what we're trying to do is this moratorium is specifically put into effect so that we can deal with the multi-dwelling, multifamily zoning. It's not part of the
So
comprehensive.
during that 6 month period, you're open to any of us coming
Well, first of all, anything that we put in
and
front for zoning,
questioning what's
we'll have
going
to
on,
go
or
back to a
making
public hearing.
suggestions?
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever?
absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
That's part of the plan. That's what the comprehensive, review committee is a part of also.
All right,
So the first task that we're going to be addressing is this task.
okay.
And then from there, we'll grow with our comprehensive plan. But anything that we do put into effect via law has to come back to you all for a public hearing. So this will happen, it doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone else?
You can come back and fetch
Okay. I have approximately 6:08. Make a motion to close the public hearing. Second by Mrs. Zell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Any questions? We are going to move right along. We have an agenda meeting scheduled. And then actually, if everybody would like to hang out around 6:30, our newly elected county executive, Mr. Ryan, will be here as a open town hall, open forum meeting to meet and greet. So, this will be the pledge. All right, I have a 6:09. I'd like to make a motion to open the agenda meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Litz. Okay, everybody's received their mail, minutes, vouchers. Okay. Please review those for town board meeting. I will make an announcement right now that normally our town board meeting is usually the week after the agenda, but because we will not have a quorum, it will be held on the 29th. So just for everybody's knowledge, it's on our website as well. The town board meeting will not be on the 22nd. It'll be on the 29th, same time as normal 7th. Okay. I have a couple of resolutions to review. Resolution for election of the Coalition of Water and Towns Executive Committees. I'll pass that around, so we do. We'll address that at the town board meeting. Town Hurley Court has acknowledged its quarterly audit and control records. So you can take the time, review that. just handed to me today. The town court did hire a new court officer. He will be appointed on Monday. It's a town board meeting. I'll have everyone review that. That will be at the set rate for the previous town court officer at $14.30 an hour. Raises at 9. So the one amendment, the one resolution that I would like to take and present tonight is for the actual amended moratorium that was just presented in public hearing. So I would like to make a motion to present a resolution, whereas the town finds, whereas the town finds compelling need to update the town Hurley zoning and land use laws and regulations pertaining to multifamily dwellings and multi-dwelling complexes. Whereas whereas time is needed to review land use and environmental studies and consider updates to the town comprehensive plan. Whereas the town board voted to pass resolution 2009-86 and enact a moratorium on the date May 20th, 2019. Whereas to address procedural concerns and recommendations of the Ulster County Planning Board, the town has conducted additional review and amended the proposed moratorium. Therefore, be resolved that the town board enact a moratorium on the date July 15th, 2019 to replace and supersede resolution 2019-86. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Judy, I'll give that to you. And you have a copy of the moratorium, so we're all set to go for the state. I do want to just make an acknowledgement. Mr. Bonds is not here tonight. He did have a procedure. So you know, I talked to him on Sunday, and he's doing very well. He will be in the hospital for a couple more days on recovery. So we wish him a hasty recovery, and we'll see him soon. Some of the letters and requests that were brought to the town. I was hoping that Mr. Mike Schultz is here. I want to talk a little more about this. There's been a request from the West Hurley Fire District. Letter was sent from Justice Rice, dear Supervisor Perry, at our regular meeting on June 10th. The Board of Fire Commissioners is requesting to be placed on the town paving contract to have the Spillway Firehouse parking lot paved. If you need any further assistance, please let us know. Thank you for your time and matters, Justice Rice. I have spoken to Mike. He believes that we can present, potentially put the laptop and put it out. That'll save tax dollars and as well. And, anytime we can save money for the town is a good thing. At the same time, fire department. The New York State DOT. I just got the letter, so they're going to be needing their updated reviews for the chips. Again, hopefully not going to be on Monday's meeting. We'll talk about that, where he can. I don't think there's much changes. I don't think so either. So we'll bring that up hopefully when Mike's here on Monday. One of the issues that we're dealing with right now is social media policy. So I have the town insurance liability company, NYMER, going forward, and along with the town attorney, and we're addressing our social media policy. We'll hopefully have something on Monday's meeting to address that. I do have some good news. Unfortunately, it's for bad causes. The West Hurley Water District. We're making some movement here. Our meeting with in the Senator McHale's office went very well. At this point in time, I did receive a letter actually today stating that the PULP, which is the Public Utility Law Project, are assisting us now in the West Hurley Water District. They're moving forward with legal, some type of legal ramifications. So they requested that the town submit a resolution enacting the fact that the residents of the town have issues. I'll make make those aware. I did contact Doug. If you could ask Alice, I did recently called today. So they're trying to get anything under the sun that they can find in reference to the water district. So for example, one of the things I was worried about was the actual fire hydrants. Pressure, water, have they been tested? When was the last time they were tested? Any documentation that we can get.
Sir, went over on 375?
Yes, exactly. So that we can present that to the attorneys, so we can move forward potentially with the Attorney General's office and go after this guy and start getting the same results for these people. So that was good news. I do have some, anybody that lives in the water district that is, that has not, Angela has not gotten a hold of, there are some applications here. If you want to take, you can take them home, fill them out. These are for some of the, basically giving you, giving the agency, the utility law protection, the ability to talk to you, speak, you know, and figure out what's going on. I don't know if Angela sent this stuff out, Linda, but these are available. Please take them, fill them out. You can bring them back to the town. Angela said she would come in and pick them up. Otherwise, I'll make sure they get to Cahill's office some way, somehow.
Excuse me? How do you know if you're in the West Philly water district?
Do you get a water bill from Fuller? No.
Then you're not.
You have a well?
Yeah, well, so
So
that's it.
you're- Yep. Yep. You'd know.
Hurley Ridge Development,
Across the street. Yeah, across the street.
Well, it used to be called Hurley.
Some of the things that the town is looking at, hope to have this addressed and potentially maybe even some type of, I'm putting forth a grant. Community Foundation, the Hudson Valley has opened up their grants for any type of office operation, professional development, and/or board member programmatic areas. For example, I know we're in need of some chairs. I know we're in need for some computers and software updates, specifically in the building department. As well as I'd like to try to get maybe some new updated materials for the ZBA and planning board, because trying to get everybody educated and up to date on things is sending them all over the state. Potentially we can get some programs, and I'll look into some grants for that. Another grant come forth is a resolution. That'll be for next year's court. They usually look for the $3,000, but we have to pass a resolution allowing them to do so. So, and at this time, that's pretty much all I have for the agenda. I do have a couple announcements. August 12th, again, is our comprehensive review committee meeting. Everybody's welcome. We do have a set committee that will be speaking and developing. Again, this will only be on currently until we close the moratorium. It will be just addressing the multifamily, multi-complex dwelling zoning. So you'd be more than welcome to come, listen, talk. We'll open it up for discussion at that time. Lastly, I just want to reiterate again the fact that we have our meeting will be moved from next Monday, the 22nd, to the 29th. So due to, again, no form, a bunch of folks on vacation, except for me. I would stay. I don't know.
You don't deserve a vacation.
Tough guy.
Right, yeah.
Sorry. That's okay. My vacations are playing basketball.
Right.
Okay. Anything else at this time?
I'd just like to say thank you for really taking the lead of Cahill on that water. I mean, those poor people that
Yeah.
are suffering out there. To see some final movement on that thing is nice. And then the Stone House Day was great. Everybody that attended that. It was fantastic again.
It was good.
Hot day though.
Right, we at the museum figured we had 450 people come through to look at the exhibits, and that was really, really a good thing.
Yeah, it was a great day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
John, anything?
Nope.
Happy. No transportation counting me this month.
No, I saw that.
You're off the. Yes.
It's come to attention recently that there's a lot of residents on Walton and Lucas that are also having a lot of water issues. So I think that at least an official survey might be done to find out how many homes are involved with that. I know of about 5 that I
Well, there's the planning board meeting next. Bring it to their attention. And in our comprehensive review, I definitely think that's something we should look into. These are monies that we have to budget for. I can't just open up and have a order, review.
Well, just, even a mail, some kind of mailing to the people along in that vicinity, just to find out how many people do have wells that are running dry. Because there are several of them that I'm aware of, including the person next to me.
I tell you what, absolutely. That's if somebody's having issues with their well and they're running dry, and there's.
And I don't even think that they've thought to
I think that's
appeal to
definitely
the
something that
town
should be coming
to find out how widespread that issue is.
Right.
So I don't know how widespread it is, but I know it exists.
No,
And
you're the first person to bring it to my attention as far as that specific area.
Right.
And if you know those people, by all means, have them, give me some type of literature.
Well, she's her well is dry.
And I'm aware of that.
Right. So that's that area. Oscar Jones Wells runs dry. He said there's a woman
People
down
across the street on Lucas.
People around Lucas. He said to me down the block, even on the other side of the street, there was somebody who's complaining all the time that her well was running dry. I don't know the number of the house, it's exactly that. But there is a
So Lucas Avenue and
Walton Lane and that area around Lucas. I don't know about Joy's Lane if they're also in that. It's very
I'll put something
complicated.
on the
aquifer.
website, but I'll also formulate maybe like a little postcard. so we can send that.
Something to see if we can bring forth some of these people, get them to call and say, yeah, I am having trouble with my water. At least we know about it, and see.
Over the next couple of weeks, if we don't get any more rain, they'll know about it. It's gonna be pretty dry. So first thing I'll do is put it on the website, and then what I'll do is I'll look into Regis Avenue, Walton, the residents, how many there are, and we'll put forth,
Something, just try to draw forth some more information as to how many people are having that difficulty. A lot of people don't think about telling it.
Right.
And any advance on getting a Dropbox for the zoning board or for the planning board to store documents?
I'm not looking to be honest with you.
I don't know, I created a Gmail account and I was able to easily create a Dropbox for a project that we're concerned about and share it with everybody. It's not that difficult to do, but you may have a particular way that you want to do it.
I'll look into it with the IT. I know we're doing some computers now, so maybe I can call to mother here. Use my time.
I was just curious about what the status update is of the runoff and the oil and the hydraulic fluid from the garbage truck fire on Flanders. There's still an area of contamination. I know DEP and DEC are aware of it, but there's a strong odor when you walk in the neighborhood.
No, I'm not aware of any updates. I'll inquire with Glenn tomorrow. And I'll try to get you something back by a couple of days.
Me, I just wanted to publicly thank you and Matt for coming over,
Oh, thank you.
checking out the property with them. We have the opposite order when it rains, back to our flush. And I've talked to, spoken with these gentlemen, and they took the time, came over, walked the property, walked the road. I just want to publicly thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. And we're gonna try to figure
Oh,
something
I'm getting
out.
them from
Good. We're working on it.
thanks. Like, man.
Thank you. And I did speak to the engineer, and he's gonna also research some, it was a while ago, it's actually really cool. So it's quite a while ago. So we're trying to figure that out, bring that up, and maybe do another engineer study. I know it's changed since then anyway, with paving and such. So.
I just want to thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll keep you. Yep. Okay. I have 6:25. I'd like to make a motion to close the agenda meeting. Seconded by Barbara. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.